GamerGate changed the internet, and it changed the trajectory. It could have possibly, might have, maybe, changed the trajectory of world history. And no, I'm not being hyperbolic. As someone who witnessed the GamerGate controversy unfold from its inception with the Internet Aristocrat, Mighty Number 9 videos, and the Zoe Quinn, Five Guys, Burgers and Fries conspiracy, I watched the entire thing unfold. And it's quite fascinating. And any left-winger who understands the situation knows what I'm talking about. The GamerGate situation changed the internet. And it possibly changed the trajectory of world history. And it most definitely contributed to Trump getting elected in the election of 2016. The GamerGate controversy began in 2014. I believe it was around, it could have been around the beginning of the year or in November, but I'm not sure. But I know it began in 2014. I know it came on the heels of like the MRA movement and like MGTOW and like the rise of anti-feminism on the internet and like a general hostility towards women. I think a lot of it had to do with like young male teenage angst, and a lot of this was like exploited by nefarious actors, but a lot of it was actually like legitimate, because there was like this over, as someone who was like around those spaces during that time, there was this overwhelming feeling that like there were like these, like just millennials in general, millennial women in general, they were like trying to find a villain to oppose, and they like almost like manufactured the Gamergate controversy by mistake, because they manufactured the gamers as villains, like archetype, and this manufactured archetype came to life, kind of. It's like the gamers sort of like adopted the villains archetype as a way of like it's almost like a game. They were like trying to get back at the feminists, but then it kind of spiraled out of control as nefarious actors got involved. Soon we saw many young men get, I guess, radicalized. There's a lot to say about left-wing radicalism. Like, there are some legitimate criticisms of gender expression in the modern world, or like women's role now that we have technology and the Industrial Revolution, women's role in society and what it should be now that we have those things. But a lot of it was mostly like manufactured outrage and stuff. Sorry, but I kind of lost my train of thought. I was getting on to like the Industrial Revolution stuff and how all this like plays a part in it, but obviously I lost my train of thought. But if you have any idea of what I'm talking about, like if you have a background understanding what I'm talking about, you sort of know what I'm talking about. The Industrial Revolution pretty much changed everything, and now we're all like a bunch of monkeys trying to react to the internet and mass technology and stuff and mass communication, and like our alienation, and how like it's like the internet is just the human id placed on display for the entire world to see. And all this stuff just sort of spiraled out of control as the gamers lashed out at the feminists, these very, very inexperienced young men who are going through their like primary, like these crucial years of development, And a lot of them, oh, this is what I was getting to. A lot of them got exposed to like very, very controversial far right ideas. And many of them, when especially if they're white, I don't think they handled these ideas as well as they possibly could have. Because if you were non-white and you were in these spaces and you were male and you were exposed to ideas, perhaps you were more like susceptible to adopting like some anti-woman ideas, but I think you'll be a little resistant to a lot of the anti-minority ideas simply by virtue of being a minority, unless you're like some kind of like masochist. But a lot of white males in their formative years, especially very, very intelligent white males, who are like who the intelligent ones tend to hang out with people who are older than them. So a lot of the younger guys were actually rather intelligent, and they were exposed to a lot of these very, very radical ideas. And I'm seeing a lot of these guys, basically their lives are now stuck in limbo. They had a lot of potential, but they were radicalized at a very, very young age, at an age when their lives are very, very very formative years of their lives. And now a lot of them essentially like ruined their lives because not only some of them they're like undercover and they're like in bureaucracies or they're in like the professional world like tech and stuff. Some of them are simply like terminally online now because they expose their identities and now they can't outrun their past. Some of them got completely radicalized, like people like James Alsop, who basically for a period of time became like a full-blown neo-Nazi kind of. I don't know if he still believes in that stuff, but that's what happened to him. It was very, very fascinating to witness, and it was very, very unfortunate. And just being able to witness it shows me how people can so easily be radicalized when everyone around them, and how they can be like their organic, I guess you can call organic personalities, become subsumed by mass like trends and the mass man. So GamerGate really changed everything, and all of the right wing like online discourse. A lot of it stems from the counterculture of the 2010s and GamerGate and like MRAs and stuff and MGTOW, and it's going to be very, very difficult to fight these things because, like I said, a lot of it happened during the formative years of young male lives. Like you have people like Daniel Schmidt, who I might do a video on, who is a student at the University of Chicago. He was like a very high performing student allegedly at his high school and stuff, and he was like exposed to GamerGate. He's like 22 now, and GamerGate happened 22, 23, and GamerGate happened in 2014. So he was exposed to it around the age of like 12 and 13. So a lot of these guys, their formative years were being anti-feminist and like racist adjacent, if not outright racist, being exposed to a lot of ideas surrounding race and gender. And this is like their upbringing now. So now they're gonna have to it's gonna be very difficult for us to fight this because it's almost like this is their socialization. How do you fight this? How do you change how do you change them when such formative years of their lives and of their socialization was them being exposed to this sort of stuff? It's going to be very fascinating to watch as the millennials grow older and the radicalized Gen Z who are consumed by the online culture war come of age. It'll be very interesting to see what kind of society is created from the dialectic between the far left non-binary feminists and the far right like cyberpunk race rulers white males. It'll be very interesting to see how it plays out. Like I said, I was a spectator of all of it. I witnessed it all unfold. I saw it all happen.